Welcome to the deep dive. This set of sources is, well, it's truly unlike anything we've seen before.
It's dense.
It is. It's this collection of intense, interconnected narratives that all seem to point to the same thing. We're talking about quiet family rituals, locked doors, impossible buildings, and really the price you pay for asking why.
Our mission here has to be precision. We're not treating this as fiction. We need to look at it as a unified field of data describing some kind of massive, pervasive containment system.
Right.
We have protocols, inherited curses, hidden rules, and very clear consequences for breaking them. So we have to identify the shared mechanisms. What are the rules? What happens when curiosity forces a breach? And who pays?
Exactly, who pays the price? We're diving into the staggering cost of knowledge, and we have to start at the very foundation. The rules you inherit without ever being told why they exist. Let's begin with the most intimate form of this, the domestic prison set up in the story of the grandfather. The narrator details this decades-long ritual that was so routine it just became invisible. Grandpa finishes dinner, he folds his napkin.
And the sources are very specific about the dark red stain that sometimes appeared on the fabric.
Yes, that stain. He gives this small, soft smile and shuffles off. Then the father follows him.
And this is the key action. This is the mechanism. He closes the door, turns a brass lock twice, and then he jiggles the handle, just to be sure it's firm.
And at first you just think, oh, he's just securing an infirm relative, for his own safety.
But that's not what it is. The containment is not for the grandfather's benefit. Not at all.
No. The truth is in two objects. The bloodstain on the napkin and a small, tarnished brass skeleton key hidden in a false bottom drawer.
Which means it's a secret. A dedicated generational apparatus.
And when the narrator finally breaks that rule, when he uses that key, the consequence is immediate. This pale, slick, veined flesh sliding out of his grandfather's throat.
And the father's reaction, bringing an iron crowbar down, it isn't murder, it's maintenance. It's a terrifying, necessary act of system maintenance.
His confession is just chilling. Locking him in at night was the only way to keep it contained.
But that raises a critical point, right? If the father knew, why didn't he just tell his son? Why let him find out through this moment of absolute horror?
I don't know.
I think the horror is part of the protocol. It seems the system doesn't allow for simple verbal transfer of knowledge. The successor has to experience the terror firsthand. That's the initiation.
So the burden, the job, it passes to the next in line.
And the father is now likely the next host. The cycle continues in silence.
A silence that's just built into the family structure.
Okay.
So how does this scale up? Because the sources show this isn't just a domestic thing. It works on a communal, town-wide level.
Yeah, let's talk about the blackout, the candle ritual.
Right. The power fails, and instantly the whole town lights candles. It seems quaint.
But the grandmother's behavior tells a different story. The frantic humming, the whispering prayers. That's not comfort. That's deep, deep dread.
Because the candles aren't to keep things away.
Exactly. The grandmother finally admits it. They're mandatory guidance.
Yeah.
They need light to find their way home. If we don't give it to them, they'll look for another glow to follow.
That completely flips the script.
It does. The town isn't defending itself. It is actively, ritually guiding something home. It's a stable coexistence that depends on human service.
And if you refuse, if you don't light your candle,
you become the new glow. You become the new target.
And we see that play out. The narrator has to trade the last lit candle to these tall, watchful figures at the tree line to save his grandmother. He's directly negotiating with the system.
He is. And when you put the two together, the personal, violent rule of Grandpa's lock and the public, systemic service of the candles, the theme is clear. Stability is maintained through enforced ignorance and prescribed ritual. Break the rules, and you become the system's new focus.
So once that silence is broken, the next step seems to be encountering, well, physical spaces.
Yeah.
Places designed for containment.
Yes, like the storage facility, the
Right.
commercial void, specifically Unit 103.
The rules for this unit are so telling. Heavy padlock, always paid in cash, no return address. And the company rule is simple. Do not access.
But the real insight is in the paperwork, the handwritten leases, the signatures that look like, what, jagged scrolls or symbols?
Yeah, these aren't human contracts. They're agreements with the mechanism.
And then there's that final log entry from the old manager. Chilling. It's not what's in there, it's what it thinks it's keeping out.
So the lock isn't to keep something in.
No. It's shielding our reality from whatever's operating from 103.
And the moment the narrator cuts that lock, the containment fails. It goes viral.
The door won't stay shut. Then other units start unlocking themselves.
Revealing these rooms that are paused in time, warm TVs, fresh food on a plate. It's like reality itself was just edited.
Which connects directly to that manager's warning. Attention stirs it up, curiosity wakes it, obsession makes it stretch.
So the act of looking, of being curious, is what gives it power.
It seems so. Human scrutiny is the catalyst. It lets the temporal instability bleed out into the surrounding units.
Okay, so if the storage unit is a commercial void, the next space is something else entirely. It's an engineered prison.
You mean the elevator?
The freestanding surveyor elevator that just appears overnight in a field. No power, no infrastructure, just a hole going down.
And this is where we see the mandatory progression. Once you're in, you can only go down. And those floors, they're not natural. They're manufactured environments.
Let's break them down. -1 is an office break room. Coffee's still warm, there's cigarette smoke in the air, but there's no power. It feels like everyone just vanished a second ago.
Then -2, the 90s suburban house, looping hallways, and the family photos on the wall. They subtly shift when you're not looking. It's designed to destabilize your memory, your sense of home.
-3, an operating theater. There's a body on the table, an interrupted procedure, and you can see fingers moving behind a curtain.
Unseen observers.
Then, -4, a flooded shopping mall, the mannequins. The sources say they blink, and their reflections in the black water move on their own.
So what are these environments for? They're not just spooky. I think the structure is harvesting something. Human experience, maybe. Dread. The fear of being watched.
And then the final floor, -7, seems to confirm that. It's this vast, unfinished construction cavern with impossible blueprints on a table.
Rooms with no entrances, an observation chamber, and a huge pit just layered with bones.
This isn't an experiment, it's an assembly line.
And the cruelest part is the escape mechanism. A service elevator button labeled to surface only appears at the very bottom.
You have to complete the process.
Descent is mandatory. You can't turn back until the system is done with you.
And escaping these places doesn't mean you're safe. The cost of that knowledge is physical, it's viral.
Which brings us to the dentist.
The dentist who used the cheap composite kit from Eastern Europe.
This is a perfect example of the mechanism exploiting a vulnerability. In this case, just a lapse in supply chain diligence. The material wasn't just low quality, it was a vector.
A vector for what?
For a biological transmission. It starts small, teeth dissolving from the inside out, creating a void.
And then the biological event.
Yeah.
The emergence of this lava, this larva-like creature from the pulp of the tooth.
And the professional horror becomes a personal, global crisis. He realizes he used it on his patients, his assistant.
And he sent a kit to his own daughter, Claire, overseas.
She's infected too. And of course, the supplier is gone. The phone number is disconnected. The path of accountability is instantly severed.
It's like a modern curse distributed through commodity supply lines.
Exactly. And it ties right back to that core theme. You don't escape the structure, you get repurposed into serving it.
The sources show this pattern of job inheritance again and again. The storage manager, after he opens Unit 103, he isn't fired. The log says he's reassigned containment oversight.
He becomes the new caretaker. The role is transferred, not vacated.
It's the same with the asylum demolition man. He thinks he can just tear down the walls.
But his mistake wasn't the demolition. It was speaking the name he found etched into the wall of a padded cell.
That name wasn't just a discovery, it was permission.
Permission for the entity to leave that contained space and attach itself to him. It came with him. He sees movement near a fence with no body heat. He hears the name whispered through his vents at home.
So he didn't destroy the prison.
No.
Yeah.
He just moved it from the building to his own body.
Which brings us to the most chilling reclassification of all. The one that ties everything together. The surveyor.
His job was to tear down old trail signs, signs named after missing people. He was literally erasing the history of containment failures.
But by disturbing the system, that totem made of rusted signs and bones, he triggers his own capture.
The irony is just excruciating. He's trying to remove the names of the lost, but the act of removal is what designates him as the next candidate.
He wakes up, his truck and his gear are gone. But right there, a new clean trail sign has been put up.
And it has his name on it.
The finality of that is devastating.
The system doesn't lose people, it utilizes them. They become components, signage, trail markers, caretakers. They become part of the mechanism used to guide the next person in. He went from clearing the path to becoming the signpost.
So when we look at all these sources together, The domestic curse, the communal ritual, the impossible architecture, the viral transmission, the job succession. The pattern is, it's just inescapable.
It is.
Breaking the rules doesn't lead to freedom. It doesn't lead to enlightenment. It just leads to a higher, more permanent rank in the hierarchy of containment.
You don't escape the system.
No. You become the new lock, the new door, or the new signpost.
Every single narrator we've looked at, from the dentist to the asylum worker to the storage manager, they all became personally and permanently implicated in the very mechanism they were trying to understand. They started as observers and ended as components.
Which raises a really uncomfortable question for you, the listener.
Given the choice between stable, comforting ignorance, folding the napkin, turning the lock, and dangerous, life-altering knowledge that demands your permanent, horrific service, which path would you actually choose?
Thank you for letting us unpack this intense stack of sources for you. That was a truly deep dive.